Good morning. I don't know why I have glare again today. And maybe angle of the sun, whatever. Apologies. This is called low tech broadcasting. Anyhow, this is the week for the latest Star Wars movie. This is what Disney gave us. I'll show you this in a sec. Well, I can show you this right now. These are collectible coins. So open it up, and it says, "Thanks for being a part of the Skywalker saga. May the Force be with you always." And then, so that's just a little card, and then a little container. And then we have, oops, they've already fallen out, coins for each. Let's see if I can get this really close so you can see it. Here's one. Coins for each of the Star Wars movies. So each one has the logo for the movies. I'll just show you. Hold on. Where's the latest one? Well, here, I'll show you The Empire Strikes Back because that's a rather iconic logo. Here we go. The Empire Strikes Back. And then on the other side is Darth. Well, I definitely. Oh, there's Darth and Leia, Luke, and you probably won't be able to see this. And Han Solo. You probably can't see this, but maybe. Yeah. So that's what they gave us. I don't know how many they printed. I don't know if it's worth anything, but I'm keeping it for the time being, and maybe one day I'll sell it on a platform. I don't use eBay. I got angry with them a few years ago when somebody hacked into my account and I told them and they didn't care. So anyhow, not intended for use as a toy. So I'm going to talk about Star Wars second. First thing I'm going to do is tell you what films have opened here in Hong Kong, as I always do this week. There's a few biggies, of course, the Star Wars film, The Rise of Skywalker. There's Bombshell, which I am going to talk about. There's Ip Man 4, which I didn't see. The screening was the other night. I didn't see it because I haven't seen Ip Man 1, 2, and 3, and I thought, what's the point? You know? So, but many of my friends here in Hong Kong, Western and Hong Kong Chinese, they have seen Ip Man 1, 2, and 3, and they've loved them all. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Ip Man 4, whether it's good or not, so I don't know anything about it. But I just thought, for me to come in now would just be ridiculous. So, yeah. So anyhow, let's talk about Bombshell, which is the story of Fox News, former Fox News chairman and CEO Roger Ailes and his fall from grace. Now, did you know that Harvey Weinstein was in the news this past week? The disgraced movie mogul has said in an interview, I love this. This is really unrepentance. "My work promoting women has been forgotten." Now, that comment didn't go down so well to the 23 women who've accused him of sexual assault, nor for their supporters. And these 23 women, issued a statement in response saying he will be remembered as a sexual predator and an unrepentant abuser who took everything and deserves nothing. Well done, ladies. I thought that was very good. Now, Bombshell is about another unrepentant sexual abuser, whether you call him an abuser or I guess he's a sexual harasser, because he didn't, as far as we know, he didn't do the things that Harvey Weinstein did, but what he did was not good, nevertheless. Now, his fall from grace is recorded in this film, Bombshell, which is directed by Jay Roach, who did Trumbo and he did quite a few other films, mostly comedies, but now he seems to have switched with Trumbo. He seems to have switched into more serious fare. Now, this film features an all-star cast headed by Charlize Theron, who's very busy going on all the talk shows this week to promote the film. Nicole Kidman, who everybody knows Nicole Kidman. I don't have to tell you what film she's been in. And we have Margot Robbie. I don't have to tell you what film she's been in because everybody knows her too. And John Lithgow, just to head up the first four, because there's so many famous people in this film. It's a who's who. And I don't think I have to tell you who John Lithgow is. In fact, he was on Stephen Colbert yesterday doing his Rudy Giuliani imitation. He's not a great, he doesn't do a great Giuliani, but he's very, very funny. So if you have a chance to watch yesterday's episode of Stephen Colbert's Late Night with Stephen Colbert, check it out. Very good. Now, the film takes us back. Hey, Jean, how are you doing? The film takes us back to those carefree days of 2015. Life was so simple back then. When Fox News host Megyn Kelly, who's played by Theron, asked GOP candidate Donald Trump on air. This was at one of the debates about his tendency to publicly denigrate women. I won't get into what she said. You can Google it, you can YouTube it, you can watch it. If you do remember your recent history, Trump deflected the question with a quip about Rosie O'Donnell, also inappropriate, and later responded with a barrage of tweets denigrating Kelly specifically and women in general. Now, Roger Ailes, who's played by Lithgow in a ton of makeup, I mean, and prosthetics, like a fat suit and lots of, like he's got jowls and everything. Amazing makeup job. He was, Roger Ailes, not Lithgow. Roger Ailes was less than supportive of what must have been his what his star performer's challenge was to the GOP frontrunner. Now Trump clearly had, and still has, an ardent let's just say he is an ardent watcher of Fox News. Everybody knows that. And his loyal fans are too. And for Ailes, that meant higher ratings and more revenue. So, he didn't care. Now, just a few months after that, I'm just going to grab a drink. This is what happens when you do this early in the morning. Just a few months after that, he or Fox, whichever you want to choose one, they let go of another one of its stars, Gretchen Carlson. Now, the former Miss America from 1989, she'd been on the outs with Ailes for a number of years. She'd been the pretty blonde with the legs on Fox and Friends for 8 years until 2013, when Ailes moved her to her own show in the afternoon at a time when the network's viewership is typically at its lowest. Now, the final straw seemed to come when Carlson appeared on camera to allegedly berate, or to allegedly, I'm trying to think what happened. She appeared on camera without makeup to discuss how our culture has become sexualized, and that prompted Ailes to allegedly berate her in front of her colleagues. Now, we don't know exactly. Well, we don't know. Let's just say we don't know Carlson's take because she's not, to this day, she's not allowed to talk about it. But I assume the people who worked on this film spoke to others who were there at the time. Now, after Carlson was let go, she decided to go public with the toxic culture at Fox News, and she decided to sue Ailes, not Fox. She sued Ailes, and it's explained why she sued Ailes in the movie and not Fox, for sexual harassment. Now, Ailes, though, wasn't going to go down without a fight, and he rallied the troops at the network, and they called themselves Team Roger. They had T-shirts and everything, just like MAGA hats. And these people, these mostly women, put pressure on other women, including Kelly, from joining the lawsuit. That's all I'll talk about the film. Now, while Bombshell tells an interesting story and is presented in a sometimes, can you believe this, way with the women breaking the fourth wall and speaking to the audience, this is very similar to The Big Short, which is no surprise because both films are written by the same person, Charles Randolph. My feeling is this film unfairly paints Carlson and Kelly in a kind light. They are not nice people, in my opinion, so please don't sue me. In my opinion, they are not nice people. Let's not forget that Carlson was, for years, spouting conspiracy theories and anti-gay rhetoric on air, while Kelly, when given the opportunity to confront Trump face-to-face, remember she had a one-on-one interview after that time, a few weeks later, she had a chance to call him out for his misogynistic behavior, but instead she gave him a huge pass, all for the sake of pandering to his base and keeping their eyes, ears, hearts, and minds glued to Fox News. Now, perhaps that was on the mind of Oscar-winning screenwriter Charles Randolph, when composite character Kayla Pospisil, who's played by Margot Robbie. So Margot Robbie's character is not a real person. It's a composite of all the other women who aren't household names, but they were harassed by Ailes over the years. She asked Kelly why she didn't speak up earlier about her own abuse, which happened 10 years earlier. So I hate to say this is my opinion, but for Kelly and Carlson, they were silent for so many years because they loved their 7- and 8-figure annual salaries more than they cared about protecting younger women from falling into Ailes' web. I don't want to equate what they did to what happened to them. What happened to them was wrong. What Ailes did was wrong, but what they did was wrong too. They were silent for far too long, my opinion. Now, as a movie, though, Bombshell is quite an achievement in makeup. It is just, the makeup is the best. Every actor looks so remarkably similar to their real counterparts that it's often distracting, and you may find yourself focusing more on how they look than what their characters are saying. I mean, it's just every time another character comes on, you're like, oh my God, who's that? Wow, that's an amazing makeup job. Who is that behind all that makeup? And then, you're not really listening to what they're saying. Now, Theron herself is incredible as Megyn Kelly with the tiniest of prosthetic tweets. The actress is a dead ringer for the journalist. Let's call her a journalist. Even more impressive is how Theron is able to match Kelly's timbre and cadence. If you close your eyes and listen to her doing Kelly Megyn, you'll think it's Kelly, or Megyn Kelly, you'll think it's Megyn Kelly. It is phenomenal how she nailed it and how the makeup people nailed it. Now, that being said, I think the film's a bit of a mixed bag. It's good, but it's not as hard-hitting as it should have been. The biggest problem is the story structure that gives little screen time to bringing these three women together. There's, of course, there's you've probably seen these the poster where the three women are together in an elevator. That's really the only time, and they're not even talking to each other. But that's really the only time where they're together. You have Carlson and Kelly talking. You have Kelly and Kayla, the composite character, talking, but you don't have the three of them talking together. And that's to me, that's rather unfortunate that there's three stories here and they really don't come together until the very end. And even when they do come together, they go off. It's sort of like you have three, let's see, what if I had three hands, this would work. But they come together and they go off right away. So to me, I thought that was rather disappointing. Now, as I said, Carlson is not allowed to tell her story. She's got a gag order. Well, I'm not going to say how much she got out of Fox News. You can Google it if you don't know. But part of the deal that she got was she's not allowed to talk about it. But she even said as recently as 2 days ago that she's working to get her gag order lifted so that she can finally tell her story. I mean, you think about this. Fox, so she signed this deal with Fox that she's not allowed to say anything. But you think about it, by not saying anything, she's protecting other harassers, other sexual harassers. Or she's keeping the story from coming out, which may in fact help women who are being sexual harassed in the workplace, not even at Fox. So to me, it's wrong what Fox is doing to keep this quiet, and hopefully she will have her chance. Now, whether or not that happens, it'll be naive to think that sexual harassment in network news, Hollywood, or any other workplace for that matter, has ended just because men like Roger Ailes and Harvey Weinstein have been toppled from their positions of power. It's still happening. It's happening every day. So that's I suppose in that respect, this is an important film, but to me, not as good as it could have been. So you know what, I liked it, but yeah, all right. So that's the Bombshell. Now, the big film of this week, Star Wars Episode 9: The Rise of Skywalker. Spoiler free. Hold on. Oh, good coffee. It's Balinese. A friend of mine brought me back Balinese coffee. But this is the last one, so I have to go back to my regular beans, which is also good. But I do love the Balinese coffee. Now, after 42 years, can you believe this? For 1977, I was in university back then, and I remember seeing the first Star Wars film at the University Theatre in Toronto, which is long gone. But I remember I saw it in the winter. I think it was in the winter, wasn't it? Because I remember standing in line being cold. But anyhow, 1977. The story of Luke Skywalker, his family, his friends, and his enemies, it's finally come to an end. Now, it's been a bumpy intergalactic ride, but on the whole, it's been enjoyable. Jar Jar Binks notwithstanding, of course. Now, for Lucasfilm and its eventual owner, the Walt Disney Company, it's been a handsomely profitable ride too, with the cumulative box office take from the 8 previous films coming to close to $8 billion US, not to mention all the multi-millions, maybe even billions, I don't know, but at least multi-millions made from the spin-offs, the licensing, everything that's come in these Star Wars canon that's been released over the past 40 years. It's probably in the billions. I don't know. Now, The Rise of Skywalker will most certainly bring in another $2 billion into the coffers, so it's really hard to imagine that this is the end. Now, the execs at Disney are staying decidedly non-committal on the question. They're saying that while this chapter is in the Star Wars saga is closed or will be closed with this movie, it doesn't mean that there are other stories to tell that will cross over. And for sure, we're seeing that now with the TV show The Mandalorian. Have you seen it yet? It's fabulous. I'm only up to episode 5. I got to see 6, and I think 7 came out last night or something. Got to catch up. Now, in the Star Wars series, we have bounty hunter Boba Fett, who was also a Mandalorian. So he appeared. I guess Boba Fett's a man. We assume he's a man, in episodes 6 and 7, and of course in The Mandalorian there's Baby Yoda. So we're not done with these characters. We may be done with the Skywalkers and the Solos and a few others. I'm not going to reveal because that would be a spoiler. But we're not done with this universe. Let's just put it that way. Now, for franchise fans, The Rise of Skywalker offers up plenty of eye candy. In this episode, the ghosts have risen. Now, that's not really a spoiler because both series producer Kathleen Kennedy and writer-director J.J. Abrams have already revealed that Emperor Palpatine, played by Ian McDiarmid, has come back from the dead. Though we don't know how he's come back from the dead. At least I don't remember that we knew that he came back from the dead, but he's back. Now, besides, his voice can be heard in the trailer. So this is not a spoiler that he's in this film. Anyhow, he's back, and he's hell-bent on finishing off the Resistance once and for all. His plan also includes Kylo Ren. He wants Ren to kill Rey. Now, I had thought... Yeah, I think he wants. I can't remember. Either he wants to kill her or bring her over to the dark side. I can't remember which, but I think he wants to kill her. Now, Ren though has other ideas. He wants Daisy on the dark side because he wants to overthrow Palpatine and take over as Emperor with Rey as his Empress. Ooh, kinky. Now, Rey though isn't biting as she's got too much of the Force in her. She also sees the good in Ren and is determined to convince him to see the error of his ways. Now, meanwhile, Finn, Poe, and Chewie, they retrieve some crucial information from a mole inside the First Order, and they bring it back to General Leia, who's played by the late Carrie Fisher, with some nifty technological tricks. Some of them work, some of them don't. Carrie is alive and well. Well, Princess Leia is alive, or General Leia is alive and well. Well, I suppose Carrie is too. But unfortunately, she, as everybody knows, she died a few years ago. So they bring it back. Anyhow, they're bringing back this crucial information to General Leia. Now, when Rey finds a Sith artifact that Luke left behind, the gang heads out to a number of different planets. Some of them are familiar to fans, some of them are new, and they run into a few people. Some of them are familiar to fans, some of them are new, who can help them in their quest to end the Empire. That's all I'm going to say. See, that's not a spoiler. Now, I think we can all agree that episodes 4, 5, and 6 are the best of the lot, and episodes 1, 2, and 3 are the worst. So that leaves episodes 7, 8, and 9 in the middle. Now, where you rank these last 3 in relation to each other is really a matter of personal taste. But to me, they're all about the same. They're full of fan service, and they lack the imagination and story structure that George Lucas put into his 3 films. Now, I had hoped that The Rise of Skywalker would be more interesting and less of a mirror to Episode 6, The Return of the Jedi, than it is. It's not, if you were listening to me do the recap of the film, it's remarkably similar to Return of the Jedi. And it's inferior. It's not even as good. And you know what? I'm not a Star Wars groupie. I haven't seen the films 45 times. In fact, I've seen all the films once. And in fact, yesterday I watched episode 6 again because I thought episode 7 mirrors episode 4, episode 8 mirrors episode 5. So I thought, well, episode 9 probably mirrors episode 6. And, I hadn't seen it since 1983. I forgot. And so I decided to watch it again yesterday. I liked it a lot more than I expected. It's really, look, the special effects are cheesy, but by today's standards, but it's a great film. It's written so well. and it's you know what, it's campy, but it's campy in a fun way. Whereas this film is not campy at all. It takes itself far too seriously. So you know what, it's not it's a mirror of episode 6, but not a good mirror of episode 6. But you know, even just to press home my point, even some of the dialogue is repeated. You know, even though I hadn't seen, when I saw this new Star Wars film 2 nights ago, and I hadn't seen episode 6 in 36 years, I even recognized that I had heard some of the dialogue before. And sure enough, as I was watching episode 6 yesterday, I'm going, oh yeah, there was that. Oh yeah, there was that. Oh yeah. So it was very intentional to be a mirror to episode 6. Now, of course, the fanboys and the fangirls in your audience are going to cheer when they see Lando Calrissian, Billy D. Williams, for the first time. Now, that's not a spoiler either because he's in the trailer. So, you know, don't be angry with me because I just said that. Now, I know they're going to cheer because they all cheered at my screening. You know? So, you know what? It's sort of, it's in this respect, it's fun to be in the audience because the audience is going to, you know, it's going to make the experience more enjoyable. So let's put it that way. But I'll tell you something, as an analysis of the film, would it have hurt to have less fan service and by doing so a less clunky story? I mean, the trouble is, like, J.J. Abrams is cramming all this fan service, and while at the same time, like, you know, maybe he's got a tall order. You know, there was really, when you look at this, the story really ended with episode 6. Nothing has really happened since then. And episodes 7, 8, and 9 are just episodes 4, 5, and 6 in the future. So there really wasn't a strong story arc written in the beginning when they came up with episode 7, and it was hampered because Rian Johnson in episode 8 took the story a little bit off track. I don't want to get into that because there's all the fanboys and fangirls have lots to say on that subject. So he's trying to bring it back. So he has to have it match episode 6. He's got to bring the story back to where he wants it to be. He's got to have lots of fan service. And so the story it's clunky, and it just, they go to far too many places, and you're saying, well, why are they going there? You know, it's like, what's the point? And the point is fan service. That's why it's there. Now, remember that romance that seemed to be budding between Finn and Rose? No more. Remember how Finn used to have real lines other than, you know, Ray, Poe, you know, these monosyllabic shouts? No more, you know. That's all he does in this film. Now, remember when seeing these black-suited First Order characters gave us shudders because they were very, very reminiscent of Nazis. No more. You know, they don't have hats anymore. They don't have the black helmets anymore. So I think they didn't have the black helmets anymore. So you know, I think the film is like, it's okay. You know, it's all rather, you know. I will say one thing good about this film. Seeing Richard E. Grant as General Pride is worth the price of admission alone. He was amazing. I mean, every time he was on screen, I was giggling with laughter. He is fabulous. I don't think he'll get an Oscar nomination, but to me, he was the best part of the film. So, bottom line is, The Rise of Skywalker is what it is. If you're a fan of the franchise, you'll love it, regarding of its shortcomings. That's the bottom line. Now, I'm not being paid for what I'm about to say, but I should, actually. I saw the film in something called Laser IMAX 3D. This is new to Hong Kong. I'm not a fan of 3D because I find the image always too dark. And especially if you're not like dead center, it's very dark. This was really good. You know, I was in the top row of the theater, off a bit to the side, and the image was crisp, clear, and bright. I was very impressed with Laser IMAX 3D. So if you have Laser IMAX 3D where you are and you want to see the film, I would say pay the extra and see it in this format. Worth it. Of course, I didn't pay for the ticket, but you know what? I liked it. So that's it. The Rise of Skywalker. May the Force be with you always, and enjoy your holidays. We have Hanukkah coming on the 22nd, so happy Hanukkah. We have Christmas on the 25th. We have Kwanzaa. When is Kwanzaa? I don't even know what it is. Is it also the 25th or 26th? Happy holidays, and you know, and happy impeachment and all that. And see you next week. Take care.